Take a look at what the Arizona Diamondbacks have done so far this offseason. They have been very active. A couple of very intriguing players coming over from Toronto, and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Gabriel Moreno, the young catcher. Also, Evan Longoria. And we're pleased to be joined by Evan Longoria. The 15-year veteran is going to be staying in the National League West after signing his one-year deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Evan, we appreciate the time. What was it about this team and organization that appealed to you at this point of your career?
I mean, first and foremost, it's home. You know, we've lived here for the past 13 years. So being able to sleep in my bed, stay home, you know, really never having to leave. I mean, I live like 7 minutes from Talking Stick, you know, the spring training facility, and 25-30 minutes from the ballpark. So that was, you know, first and foremost on our minds, was just being able to be in a place that was convenient for us. And then, you know, I played against this team quite a bit over the past 5 years. I've seen the growth. I've seen the young player development that they've done. I mean, I think it was a very exciting opportunity for me to be able to, you know, hopefully contribute to a team that I feel like is really on the rise.
Yeah, convenience is king, Evan. I was just wondering that with all the information that you can get about your swing and how you play, as you age and get a little older, how does that help you kind of figure out what you're going to do this season with the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I mean, I give a lot of credit to the hitting coaches in San Francisco, just really lean in on, you know, just swing efficiency, but also mainly like plan. You know, we really always had a plan in place for attacking the pitcher that day. And I think that, you know, hopefully in Arizona, we can continue to kind of hone in on that and just being able to continue to be selective and, you know, just look to do damage with a really specific plan. So, you know, those two things, and just different ways in which you train as you get older. You know, we used a lot of foam balls, you know, and a lot of like, you know, timed breaks. We didn't hit a whole lot, you know, just trying to figure out like the right amount of swings to get you prepared to play the game each day.
Evan, you were a Giant for 5 years. You're staying in the division with the Diamondbacks, so you're very familiar with just what a bear the Dodgers have been in this period. You're seeing the growth payroll-wise and talent-wise of the Padres. You know the Giants are going to keep trying to do it. You're going to a team, you mentioned the young talent. How do the Diamondbacks break through, considering what's in front of them in the division?
I think that this team is really, you know, built for like not caring about those things. You know, I think there's definitely an understanding that, you know, the things that you touched on are there, they're real, but, you know, the objective has to be the postseason at all costs. And I don't think that it necessarily goes through the division anymore. You know, with the way that the schedule is going to be set up, I think it's going to be a little bit more fair. And I think there's going to be opportunity for a lot of teams, the Diamondbacks included, for us to have real playoff aspirations. And I think that that's the goal.
Evan, you mentioned all the young players in this organization, both obviously at the lower levels and at the big league level. We always hear about players having to learn to become a professional, how to learn to become a big leaguer. For those of us that did not play at this level, what does that mean exactly?
I mean, I think that the simplest way to put it is like just being able to keep your head down. You know, that when you get to the big league level, there's all these new opportunities and all these different people and things pulling you in different ways. And if you don't have like the right group of people around you or somebody in your ear kind of telling you like what's most important, it's pretty easy to get lost in like all of the great things that the big league has to offer. I mean, great restaurants, you stay in the best hotels, you're traveling all over the country, you get to see really the best of what the country has to offer. And if you're not focused on, you know, playing baseball and focusing on how you can help the team win, you can kind of get lost in that. So, you know, that will be one of the things that that will be a focus this year, in trying to figure out how we can kind of maximize the talent of everybody on that roster.
Well, Evan, congratulations on this new phase of your career. We appreciate you joining us. Happy New Year to you.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Happy New Year.
All right, let's check out the odds provided by our good friends at BetMGM. Here are the odds to win the 2023 NL pennant. You've got some heavy hitters at the top. I mean, it is going to be a wild race to the pennant and ultimately the World Series. The Mets and the Dodgers and the Braves and the Padres, Phillies in the mix. And then you get into that second tier, teams like the Cardinals, the Brewers, and the Giants. And you'll find the Arizona Diamondbacks right now at plus 5,000. And you heard Evan Longoria talk about the young talent on the team. I think they're going to be one of the most athletic teams in baseball. And with the rule changes, I think athleticism is going to be rewarded more than we had in years previous. So where are we on the Diamondbacks, Ron, and how they fit in the National League West and ultimately the National League? You know,
remember, they got off to a slow start,
yes,
went through a real tough stretch, played better as the season went along. I think they have one of the brightest young managers in the game, and Torey Lovullo. And they have always tried to take advantage of the margins of athleticism, whether it's stealing bases, playing better defense, all of those things. But you're right, with the additions, and now it cost them Varsho, who's really had a fantastic year. So Varsho had an amazing year. Christian Walker had a strong year. Of course, Zach Gallen, we talked about before. But you see Gurriel Jr. brings a lot of athleticism to left field or a corner outfield position. Kyle Lewis 2 years ago was Rookie of the Year for the Seattle Mariners. We know what he can do in center field. And Longoria, I think, is a great pickup because when you have a young team, sometimes they're helter-skelter all over the place, and it's great to have an old pro to kind of get them on the right path.
Yeah, so I think what was interesting about that BetMGM list is the 6 favorites were the 6 teams that went to the playoffs last year. It's very rare to go 6 for 6 2 years in a row. So you start playing the game. Well, who can figure out how to get in there? I always think it's going to be easier in the in a Central Division because if you think about the coast right now, there are going to be 5 teams, 3 in the NL East and 2 in the NL West, who are going to be over $200 million in payroll. There's no one like that in the Central who's going to just run away financially. I see some real weakness in the Cardinal rotation that I worry about, both in quality and depth. So I think about the Brewers in particular, and you notice they're the next team on here.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking about the Diamondbacks arriving early, is Corbin Carroll a superstar right away? Boy, it was an interesting cameo. It was interesting enough, and they had enough left-hand hitting that, to Ron's point, they used one of their very many left-handed hitting outfielders in Varsho to bring some right-handed bats to them in Gurriel and Moreno. Moreno, a long-term guy who probably will be the backup catcher to Carson Kelly this year, but showed he was athletic enough to play some in the field, be used at DH. He's going to, if he earns it, he's going to get 400, 500 at-bats this year. So now are we talking about Carroll and Moreno being kind of the beginning of something? You know, Jake McCarthy broke out last year. They really need Ketel Marte, who did not have a good year last year, to come back and do it. Christian Walker, who did have a good year. And they have young pitching coming, some of it like Drew Jameson pitched in the major leagues last year. So, you know, young talent, when does it arrive? When does it blossom? Does it ever blossom? They have real young talent. And the question, and if it blossoms right away, they would be one of those teams I'd sit there and go, can they figure out how to be second or third in the NL West? To Evan Longoria's point, you don't think about winning the division anymore. You think about getting in.
That's right.
The Phillies got in by one game last year. One game and went to Game 6 of the World Series.
Yeah.
So the idea is get in.
Yeah, but conventional wisdom right now says that still the Los Angeles Dodgers are the kings of the National League West. Yes, Padre fans, I know the Padres ultimately knocked them out. But when we come back, Factor